Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor, as well as anyone interested in this particular point of view. Because it is very particular. Why? Because it's not based on tradition, it's based on an ideal. It's based on the theory that there is an ideal within Joe's original book, taken as evidence. His definition is promise and the sequence. You know all that, right? So that just takes me to number one. And my number one title is You Have to Want It to Get It. And on Facebook this morning, a year anniversary came up where I just posted the definition of MMP. And so I shared it again. And what I came away from that became this title number one is it's out there. It's been out there a lot longer than a year, right? And both core new tension, the identification of it, and pointing to the ideal within Joe's original work, it's just a point of view that transcends the conventional, traditional, contemporary, aristocratic, well-formed point of view that the Pilates culture has of itself. It steps beyond that. That's what makes it transcendent, and goes into looking at Pilates from Joe's book, seeking an ideal within. And within MMP, points to an actual experience that you're after, as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. Now that's all MMP. That's not saying there's not another thousand points of view. What matters to me is that I'm clearly representing to you what this point of view is. And beyond that, having posted the definition twice of the MMP point of view of the ideal within, you have to want it to get it. And I think it's human nature to want to keep Pilates something undefinable and unknowable, and definitely within the realm of who you are within it mattering more than what it is in and of itself. Human nature. But if you want to see, but when pressed to survive, right? When pressed to survive, that's a difference that you can feel, and it's also, I don't know how, money, money. Why should I hire you instead of somebody else? And for all of the other reasons someone might hire you as a Pilates instructor, they might exclude you, so it might work against you, but it definitely would distinguish you if you said, well, I at least know a little bit about MMP, and I definitely think that CT is a biomechanical fact in the human body. And see, by saying that, you're acknowledging the fact of the biomechanics just from your own sensation of what it is. And if you haven't gotten to that point where you're loose enough in your body and haven't found the oppositional rotation between axes in your body, keep looking, because keep striving, keep stretching, keep strengthening, keep doing Pilates, because it will take you there. Again, Alan Herdman, efficient. If you're going to survive as a Pilates instructor, the more efficient you are, the better off you are. Meaning you want to lay as much in there in terms of information and experience and grasp of what it's about to your student. I do anyway, as fast as I can without trying to press the flow that's only naturally there. And knowing that I have so much more to deliver than the funnel of the human being can absorb in a normal course of time. So much of, I think, good Pilates instruction is being present at the moment and being patient with whatever agenda you're dying to pursue. By agenda, I mean what exercises to do, or where to explore to get a deeper sense of how your student is moving, in order to participate in the correction loop of corrective exercise. But you have to want it to get it. And I think that there aren't many that in the last session I talked about don't be a sheep, right? And you have to want it to get it, and wanting it means being willing to in some way to stand out from where you are. Because this point of view doesn't come from or has no significance. Okay. Let's go to number 2. Another black hole of commentary. And it came out in 2 words. The 2 words are residual income. Now, adding 2 and 2, when you talk about money, and seeing behind the curtain, and reading between the lines, it's human nature in any industry, medicine with doctors, so it has to be legitimate, right? But it's through continuing education that doctors gain credits to maintain their credentials. And it wasn't long before Pilates evolved into a mirror of that, to where if you get certified, then every year it's $100 or however much to maintain that certification, provided that you do some continuing education credits. So when it comes to evaluating points of view, you know, the often proffered one is that it's an assurance that this certification maintains its value by the continued education of its certificate holders, right? Another reason for that point of view is that it establishes residual income, right? It's income that comes every year, and if your student base is growing, so is your income, and you don't have to do anything other than check to see if they filled some other hurdle to justify the continued, see, is what justifies what, that's the issue. Once you know Michael Miller Pilates, once you understand that point of view, it's like learning how to tie your shoes. The only reason you would maintain, the only reason I suggest that you maintain your Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliation, right? Why do that? Because you do it voluntarily, and you do it to claim a direct affiliation to the brand. You don't have to pay up to maintain one. And then if you want to get snobby, you can talk about you've been a licensed affiliate since when. But the point doesn't matter is in that association to the brand is claiming the point of view. Now, I got ahead of myself because recognize human nature and that we all want income to happen on a regular basis that you do next to nothing to earn, or you do all the earning up front and then you maintain the membership by requiring dues. Right? Actually, oh, it just does flow a little bit. So that was number 2. Let's go to number 3. I don't know if I'll actually type this out in the Facebook titles. But number 3 is titled Duplicating the Myth of Aristocratic Ascendancy. So I feel very lucky to have done the traveling that I've done. It's not a lot, but it's more than the average bear, I think. You can go to hermit.com and look at my bio for that if you're interested. But in doing that over the course of a couple decades and doing it through the world of Facebook, I'm so grateful for all my friends I've made and the exposure I get to my friends of their worlds related to Pilates, because that's my main interest, my only interest, my passion, why I'm here. And so knowing that there's a way to look at Pilates that empowers the individual, that pursues performance of it, that there's an ideal way of looking at it and have it be not part of the tsunami of Pilates passion that is much bigger and more far-reaching on some continents than others. And in watching the wave work and in watching human nature seize opportunity, what I'm trying to point out to you is the opportunity is to sign up as many students as you can within your training program, because what you're reaching for is residual income. It makes me wonder what the 1700s and the 1800s were like when Europe and its sailing fleets went out under different religions to satisfy whatever reasons they went out for. Religion, pillage, plunder, discovery, and all of that. And it's human nature, but I hope that you can see that in my claim that MMP is transcendent, where that transcendency exists, and how from that point of view, the interest in establishing residual income at some stages of populations being exposed to Pilates, different stages for different continents and different countries within different continents. Okay? Seeing the myth of the presumption of aristocratic ascendancy as the template through which Pilates is presented, and yet you have to want it to get it, and so much of the wave is pressing rather than being receptive. So, number four, stand on the peak. You know, I don't know if, I guess that's the last thing I'm asking really. Am I being clear? Is my summary, and stand on the peak is my last item, my last title. On any subject, if you just look at population in a way, right? Or if you just look at understanding or clarity, my point is, if there's any clarity to it at all, it comes out to being a peak of understanding in that you understand the ideal that exists within it. And that's the MMP point of view, that reality is a necessary acknowledgement in the pursuit of doing Pilates. Stand on the peak. The peak is, and you come and you say, oh, but Michael, I've got a different view of it. And ideally, let's talk. Meaning, everyone has their own point of view. The paradigm shift from this to this is acknowledging the universality that exists within this, try teaching some other way after you're hip to coordinating being, thinking, and observing. Am I being clear? What don't you get? See? What don't you get? What don't you get? I don't know. My indulgence and my pressure and what seems to be satisfying is reaching through space, through my phone to you on the other side of the world, or across the street, but more especially on the other side of the world because of what it would take in time and money to get to the other side of the world. I believe someday my affiliates are going to be very distinctive in the Pilates culture, and that distinction will rise above whatever reputation I have as a human being to the message rather than killing the messenger to avoid the message. If only that could work. What don't you get? Because if you don't have comprehension of this sooner than later, it can always end up to be too late. Because life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, add two and two, direct your thinking. Geist.